Hi, good afternoon. This is Christine from Christine's Corner. My first book is A Home Run for Bunny. The story is by Richard Anderson and illustrated by Gerald Purnell. Now, Richard Anderson, he used to be my teacher in college at Springfield College, Massachusetts. So this is a true story of Bunny. That's not his real name, but we're going to find out what his real name is. And here's a picture of him, because this is a true story and true pictures. I'm going to give you the history first before we start. This is the story of a remarkable baseball team from Springfield, Massachusetts, and its star player, a boy named Bunny, who was the only African American on the team. The year was 1934, a time very different from today. Throughout much of the United States, and especially in the South, white children and black children went to separate schools. Many businesses, including hotels and restaurants, refused to serve black people. They even had to drink from different water fountains. In those days, no major league baseball teams had black players. It was not until 1947 that a talented second baseman named Jackie Robinson was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. Jackie became the first African American to play in the modern major leagues. People were fighting for equal rights off the field as well. In 1955, a courageous black woman named Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to move to the back of the bus. The seats in the front were reserved for white people. On August 28, 1963, more than 300,000 people marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. On that hot summer afternoon, Dr. King delivered his historic "I Have a Dream" speech, calling for a day when people would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Although the story of Bunny Taliaferro and his remarkable Springfield team is not widely known, it honors and celebrates an important event in the history of America's struggle for racial equality. I would say nowadays in 2020 we're still having a struggle with blacks and whites. Sorry to say. But this is the story. A home run for Bunny. Here is Bunny right here running. Good picture, huh? I never liked Bunny Taliaferro. How could you, with a name like Bunny? He wasn't even Italian. His real name was Ernest, but everyone called him Bunny because all he did was run. Everywhere, to and from school, on errands for his mom and dad. He even ran around the block while waiting for his friends to come out and play. Here's Bunny and the tire swing here. I'll tell you all about the tire swing in a moment. Yes, Bunny could run fast, and he could throw too. When we were only 8, I saw him hurl a snowball from across his backyard to keep a squirrel from stealing the birdseed. As you see, that squirrel right here. Isn't he cute? Bunny's first baseball mitt was the old-fashioned kind with 3 fingers. His mom had to stuff it with rags and lace it back up before he could use it. An old tire his dad hung from a tree in their backyard became Bunny's first strike zone. As you see, as I'm showing you again, the tire swing, and there's Bunny, and that was his strike zone, trying to get the snowball through the tire. I was as good a pitcher as Bunny, but he was the one who made history. At Springfield Tech, he became the first freshman ever to earn varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. And Bunny didn't just letter, he was the star. See, he did 3. Most people do 1, but he did 3. Baseball, football, basketball. When our schools met in the city football championship, Bunny rushed for more yards than all our running backs combined. We'd never seen anyone who could run so fast. Even the newspapers started calling him Bunny. Bunny, 21, Cathedral, 7, read the headlines. Bunny was the youngest player on his basketball squad, but that didn't stop him from scoring more points than anyone else on the team. He also led the league in steals. 4 of them came off me in one game. Here he is. He's playing football over here and basketball over here. He's a mighty champ. Force to reckon with, huh? But baseball was Bunny's specialty. Throwing strikes came as easy to him as hurling hard balls through that old tire in his backyard. As a freshman, he went undefeated and pitched a complete game every time he took the mound. When he wasn't pitching, Bunny played center field and batted over 400. He had more hits, scored more runs, and stole more bases than anyone else on the team. The only thing he didn't do was strike out. He was that tire swing again. Pitch right through there. Imagine you're not only a pitcher, but you played center field. That's hard position to play too. The ball comes right straight at you. I know because I used to play baseball. How about you? Do you like baseball, football, basketball? Well, baseball was my specialty too. And though my team wasn't as good as Bunny's, we won every game I pitched. When the school season ended, we were both picked for the American Legion All-Star team. Who would have guessed it? We'd wind up wearing the same colors after competing against each other so many times. Both of us pitched really well all summer, but I had to warm the bench between my starts while Bunny made a name for himself playing center field. With his amazing speed, he was able to catch balls other outfielders could never have reached. He also threw out a lot of baseball runners who normally would have been safe. I hated it to admit it, but Bunny really was the better athlete. Here he is on the bench watching the game, ready to play the next position. Our team lost only once all summer, and it was one of the games I pitched. Wouldn't you know it? After taking the league title, we sailed through the Massachusetts Championship Series with Bunny tossing shutouts in both games. Bunny pitched another shutout in the opening game of the New England Championship Series, along with stroking 2 home runs and stealing 6 bases. He even picked off a runner at third. Wow, how often have you seen a pitcher do that? The next day I did something Bunny never did. Allow only 4 hits and 1 walk in an 11-inning shutout. Next stop, the Eastern Regionals in Gastonia, North Carolina. Here's just some of the crowd with his team. And this is just him getting ready to throw a pitch. And this is him catching the ball before the player got to the base, third base. These are awesome illustrations. When we boarded the train with Coach Steer and our team manager, Mr. Harris, we were all a little nervous, but also very excited. None of us had ever traveled so far from home before. All I knew about North Carolina was that it was south of Massachusetts. We knew something was wrong just after the train pulled into Gastonia. The band that had been playing walked off as soon as they saw Bunny step onto the platform. Then the bus pulled away, leaving us stranded. We had to carry our bags and equipment all the way to the hotel. This is them, the band walking off, and it's them just standing there waiting because the bus pulled away. Now what did they do? When we got to the hotel, the manager told Mr. Harris, "Colored folks," that's what they called them, "colored folks ain't allowed to sleep here. So we've arranged for your boy to stay with a local Negro doctor. Bunny is a member of this team," Mr. Harris replied. "Where the team goes, he goes." At this point, an official from the American Legion spoke up. "Since this law doesn't include servants, can't the boy be registered as the coach's valet?" "Bunny is not a servant," Coach Steer growled. "He's going to be treated like every other member of this team. Then he'll have to sleep in your room on a cot," the manager insisted. "We can't have no colored boy sleeping in no bed for white people." Ooh. Bunny looked like he wanted to sink through the cracks in the floor. "I don't want to cause any trouble," he mumbled. "You're not the one causing trouble," Mr. Harris fumed. "You deserve to sleep in a real bed just like everyone else." Here's Bunny. All these guys talking back and forth about where he should sleep. Can you imagine someone telling you where you can sleep and can't sleep? And sleeping on a cot when everyone else is sleeping in a bed? That afternoon we held our first practice. More than 2,000 people showed up to watch. That was a bigger crowd than we'd had at all our games back home put together. And were they mad, steaming. "You boys done played your last game," one man shouted. Others threatened to tear the shirts off our backs if Bunny even stepped onto the field. One usher told me that the Ku Klux Klan was planning to kidnap us from the hotel, and our families would never hear from us again. I don't know if you know the KKKs, the name for sure is they're against black people, and they dress up in white coats and white hats, and they bully and really beat up the black people. They're mean. Some of the boys were really scared. I was too. Baseball wasn't worth getting killed over. At the same time, something deep inside me wanted to prove that we could beat any team in the tournament. That's them looking at all the people, yelling and cursing and calling them all names. Bunny was the first to make a move. He grabbed his bat, stepped up to the plate, and started taking cuts at imaginary pitches. When Coach steered toward us to take our positions on the field, for once I was glad to be warming the bench. More threats and jeers filled the air as Coach made his way to the mound. "Batter up," he called. Bunny lined the first pitch over the left field fence. That silenced the crowd, but only for a second. Coach Steer threw his second pitch, and Bunny airmailed that one out of the park too. "Special delivery to the people of Gastonia." The more noise the crowd made, the smoother Bunny swung. He hit 6 home runs on 6 pitches. That's when it started raining soda bottles tin cans and half-eaten hot dogs. You can imagine that he's playing really well, and they're throwing food and cans and bottles at him. Can you imagine going on the field and having that happen to you? Even if you didn't do a good pitch, it's just wrong. It's just all wrong. More trouble greeted us when we got back to the hotel. The teams from Maryland and Florida announced that they wouldn't play against us if Bunny was allowed on the field. We also found out that we couldn't go to the welcome banquet if Bunny was with the team. To make matters worse, the American Legion official didn't think the police would be able to protect us from the crowds. "Your boy is the only Negro player in the tournament," he told Mr. Harris. "What if he hits a batter with a pitch? What if he slides into somebody trying to steal a base? What if Bunny pitches a no-hitter?" Mr. Harris snapped back. "What if he scores the winning run?" It's all them talking again. That was the team. That evening, Coach Steer called another team meeting. He gave it to us straight. "You have a decision to make. You can either play without Bunny, or you can pack your bags and go home. If you leave now, the national finals in Chicago are out. The choice is yours." Tony King, our team captain, spoke first. Bunny had broken every one of Tony's records from the summer before, but he didn't hesitate. "There is no choice. Bunny is a member of this team. If he doesn't play, neither do I." I knew I could have pitched us to victory in Gastonia, but I also voted to go home. So did every other player. Bunny came through for us all summer long, and now it was our turn to do the same for him. These are all his team members, and they're staying with Bunny. They're going to play. That's what you call a team player. That night, we snuck out of the hotel and caught a train heading north. It had to make a special stop just for us. Bunny was the first to speak. "I know you guys want that championship as bad as I did, but having teammates like you is more important than winning any ball game. You guys aren't just teammates, you're friends. The best friends anyone could ever have." These are the guys on the bus, the team. He's feeling very proud that they all joined him on the bus, and they played baseball with him. They stuck together. News of what had happened in North Carolina reached Springfield before we did. When the train pulled into Union Station, a huge crowd, even bigger than the one in Gastonia, was waiting to greet us. The people cheered wildly and held up signs calling us heroes and champs. Flashbulbs lit up the night like fireworks. Looking back now, nothing we did on any ball field compares with what we did on August 23rd, 1934. Long before anyone had ever heard of Jackie Robinson, a team of 15-year-old kids from Springfield, Massachusetts. True story. Chose loyalty and respect over championships. Without swinging a single bat, we'd hit a home run, not just for Bunny, but for people everywhere. Here's the sign. It says, "Welcome home." And then there are heroes. And all the people were gathered there. The band's playing, and there they are shaking hands, one hand on top of the other with Bunny. In each of his 4 years at Springfield Technical High School, Ernest, Bunny, Talaferro, lettered in football, basketball, and baseball. Bunny was named All-City in football, and his team won championship in 1934 and 1935. In baseball, he was undefeated as a pitcher and led his team in hitting and home runs each year. Although offered several college scholarships, Bunny stayed in Springfield, where he played Triple-A baseball for a number of years. He married his high school sweetheart, and together they raised 6 children, 5 of whom graduated from college. Bunny died on November 19, 1967, his 50th birthday. Bunny Talafiero was not just a great athlete, he was a remarkable human being who inspired everyone around him. Today, a monument honoring Bunny, his teammates, and their historic response to racism stands beside the baseball field in Springfield's Forest Park. In 2010, the Springfield Post 21 American Legion team was revived after having been disbanded in 1935 to protest the national organization's tolerance of racial discrimination. At the opening day game on June 13th, Tony King and Danny Keys, the 2 surviving members of the 1934 team, threw the ceremonial first pitches. Before the game, Governor Deval Patrick awarded championship rings to Tony, Danny, and Bunny's daughter, Linda Talafiero. What those kids said so loudly in 1934 resonates through the decades. Miss Talafiero told the crowd, and in one voice. On August 22nd, 2010, Tony and Danny were again asked to throw ceremonial first pitches, this time at a Boston Red Sox game in Fenway Park, a notable change from earlier days when Boston was the only major league team without an African American player. How do you like that? How different it is today, huh? Now, I have 1 minute left. So, how did you enjoy the story, the true story of Bunny, the first Black American to be in the baseball team? That must have been really hard. Have you ever been in a position where someone just doesn't like you for some reason? Well, that is wrong, and it's good for you to stick up and fight for yourself. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time on Christine's Corner.